I got there and I didn't know what to do, because you get off in town and the base is probably 5 or 10 miles out from the, and he didn't know I'd come in. He didn't know I was leaving then, and so I found a phone, which it was one of those that you have to, what do you call it? Ring the thing first, and then an operator would come on and say, what number do you want? And I said 1000, and said, that's the base. Yes, that's what I want. And they said, a guy answered, and I said, I'm looking for Sergeant William L. Fackler. Could you find him for me? But he works at the hospital, okay? And they said, okay, I'll call the hospital for you and tell them, stay on the line. And so, anyway, he finally got on the line. He said, is that you, sweetheart? Yeah. Where you at? I said, in town. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll get somebody to drive me and get you. Okay, stay right where you're at. Okay. And then they come pick me up, took me out there. And then, he said, it told me I should have called before I, and let him know, but that worked out okay anyway.
What base was he stationed at?
It was, well, I don't know what the name of the base was, but it was at Tonopah, a little ways out of Tonopah. And he found me a house in Goldfield, Nevada, which is about 10 miles, I think, about 10 miles from.
So where were you guys living when you first met? I don't think you mentioned the town you were living in.
And what was we living?
Yeah, when you were a kid.
In Mountain Home. Good grandpa was in the service.
Oh no, when you two met, when you were kids, before you got married.
We lived out. We were living out at on Locust, way out towards the end of Locust. I lived on the I lived on the right side of the road, and about three or four. See, 1, 2, 3. 3 houses down on the left was his.
Was it here in Emmett? Was it here in Emmett?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. And then, anyway, the first thing he did was take me out the base and introduce me to all the people that guys and women, nurses. There was men and women nurses. And this one old nurse said, such a beautiful girl. What are you doing with this ugly duck? To him, not Grandpa. I said, I guess because I loved him, but I don't think he's ugly. And he was embarrassed. But most of the guys are really, really nice, and the women that he introduced me to. And he said, okay. He went in, but he had surgery that same day. I think it was the same day, and he had his what do you call them? Uniform on as a nurse, nursing their uniform, and had to put his mask and his hat on, and so he came out and pulled the mask down and give me a big kiss and said, I'll see you in a little while, maybe half hour.
Did you have Dave by then?
No. No, that was my first trip down there. No, and then, when I went home from there, yeah, I got pregnant, found out I was pregnant. Because and then,
What year was Dave born?
October 15th of 1944. Well, that other one was 43 is when we was married. Because he was born in 44. And, yeah. And anyway,
Was Grandpa there for that? When you had him?
yeah, he come home every night. He hitchhiked.
Was he there for the labor and the birth?
Oh, don't, honey. I came home. He was being shipped out, and he didn't know where he was going. And of course, he wouldn't have had me a house or anything to send him, so I had to catch a bus. I was down there, what? Probably 2 or 3 months. And they got his shipping orders. And he didn't know whether he was going overseas. He didn't know whether, and they didn't tell him. They just put him on a train. And he said, honey, I'm gonna have to put you on the bus back home. And I was brokenhearted, of course. And then when I got home, a month later, I found out I was pregnant with a baby, and I called, when he called, he said, guess what? Guess where I'm at? I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. And I said, what? You're not going to tell me why? And I went down to visit. Oh, that was later. No, he said he wasn't going to tell him, but then he finally said, this is, they had brought him on train, and he got off, and he said, where am I at? And he said, Mountain Home. And so he jumped and he was supposed to go in, honey, and check himself in. He didn't do it. He just got out on the road and hitchhiked home to see if I got home all right. He said he worried about whether I made it home or not. And so,
Was this before Dave was born?
then, I told him I was pregnant, but he had to go back to Mountain Home. And then before he ended up from Mountain Home, they shipped him to, let's see, where was it? I got things backwards. He took his training in Fitzsimmons General Hospital in Denver to start out with, honey. And then when his training was all over with, that's when they sent him to Tonopah. And so that time he went back to Tonopah, or Mountain Home, and then back to Tonopah. I'm pretty sure. I'm hoping I'm not getting things wrong.
Okay.
But he couldn't get wherever they shipped him to. There was no way he could get. I called him that I'm having pains and I know I was going to have to go in. And he said, I'll see what I can do. And there was no way he could leave. He had surgery. He had to go into surgery I don't know, they had 2 or 3 people. They were bringing them all back that was wounded. And a lot of them was legs cut off and shot off and arms shot off. And I mean, some of them, not all of them, but some of them pretty shot up pretty bad. And so but he said, honey, I'm gonna pray for you, okay? While I'm working, and good luck, and hope I get a boy. See, they didn't, in those days, they didn't have the things that now they couldn't tell. I didn't know what I was gonna have. And so when he was born, I called him. And told him that he had a son. I said, and honey, you're gonna have to name him. I said, I'm gonna name him after my brother that drowned it, my little brother. So he was David. His name was David. And my good friend Michael, my best friend, is here with me. He said, Owen, his middle name may be Michael. So that's how he got his name.
How was the labor like?
Huh?
How was having Dave? How long was it?
Well, horrible. I refused shots. I never took a shot on any of my children. My baby, when they'd say, you want me to give you a shot to take the edges off? I said, no. I want to have it the way God intended it to be had. Okay? So this is what I did. And the nurse that took me into the living room, she said, you know what, it's like, I was so tiny. Honey, I was a real tiny person, like her. From time even up as a teenager, I was still really small. Not very tall, and little bone. And so the nurse said, it's just like a baby having a baby. That's what they told me in there. And old Doc, he agreed with it. Boy, I was in labor, honey, 12 hours of bearing down pain. And I don't know why they didn't go ahead and pick a cesarean. Even the nurse told me that. Why aren't they doing it? She says, one nurse, and Juanita Gardner, she was a real religious lady, but she was a nurse down at the hospital. And she said, you know what, do you have anybody to be with you? And I said, no, I don't have nobody. And says, okay, you know what, I'm going to go sign myself out, and I'm coming back up here, and I'm going to stay with you until that baby comes. She did all night, sit with me and held my hand, and bless her heart, and I never forgot her. She's a missionary now, but then she was a real religious person.
Hold on one second.